galaxy watched in stunned silence as humans casually reignited dying stars, treating the monumental feat as if it were a weekend hobby. Ambassador Bobby Morris stood at the podium in the Galactic Council chambers, facing a sea of alien faces contorted with a mix of awe and trepidation. The emergency session had been called to address humanity's unprecedented actions, the systematic rejuvenation of dying stars across the Milky Way. Bobby cleared his throat, his voice steady as he began to explain. Representatives of the Council, I stand before you today to address concerns regarding Earth's Star Rejuvenation Project. Led by Dr. Emily Jenkins, our scientists have discovered a groundbreaking method to reignite stellar cores using antimatter injection and gravitational manipulation. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of alien languages as universal translators struggled to keep up. Sagan, the Ventaxian representative, rose from his seat, his iridescent scales shimmering under the chamber's lights. This is madness. You tamper with the very fabric of galactic order. The consequences could be catastrophic. Bobby remained calm, activating a holographic display. I understand your concerns, Counselor Sagan. However, our data shows only positive outcomes. We've already successfully rejuvenated 10 red giant stars, restoring them to main sequence status and extending their lifespans by billions of years. The announcement sent shockwaves through the assembly. The Arcturian delegation whispered excitedly among themselves, while the Zeta Reticulans hissed in disapproval. Bobby continued, Our actions have preserved habitable worlds and prevented potential supernovae that could have threatened nearby systems. The Galactic Council's chair, a being of pure energy contained within a translucent sphere, pulsed with an intense blue light. Ambassador Morris, while the potential benefits are clear, we must consider the larger implications. The Zeta Reticulans raise valid concerns about the overreach of human influence in galactic affairs. As debate intensified, Bobby's comm device vibrated. He glanced down, his eyes widening at the urgent message from Earth. A nearby star, home to a pre-spaceflight civilization, teetered on the brink of going supernova. Dr. Jenkins and her team believed they could save it, but they needed the Council's immediate approval to act. Bobby's mind raced. The fate of an entire civilization hung in the balance, yet the Council seemed far from reaching a consensus. He looked up, meeting the gaze of each alien representative in turn. Esteemed members of the Council, I implore you to consider not just the potential risks, but the immense benefits our technology offers. We have the power to preserve life, to nurture burgeoning civilizations, to shape the very future of our galaxy. The chamber fell silent as the weight of his words sank in. Bobby knew he had to navigate the complex web of galactic politics and convince the Council to trust humanity's intentions before it was too late. The clock was ticking, and somewhere in the vast expanse of space, a star was dying, along with the hopes and dreams of an entire species oblivious to their impending doom. As tensions rose, the Council's chair called for a vote. Bobby stood tall, ready to face whatever decision came. The future of humanity's role in the galaxy and the fate of countless alien civilizations hung in the balance. The era of humans casually rebuilding stars for fun had catapulted Earth to the forefront of galactic affairs, and now they faced their greatest challenge yet, proving they could wield this awesome power responsibly. As the Council chamber buzzed with heated debate, Bobby's comm device flashed urgently. He glanced down, his eyes widening at the message from Earth. Proxima Centauri, the star nearest to humanity's home system, was on the brink of going supernova. The implications were staggering, not just for the potential alien life in that system, but for the stability of nearby stars, including Earth's own sun. Bobby's mind raced. He needed to buy time, to convince the Council to allow immediate action. But before he could speak, Dr. Emily Jenkins' face appeared on the chamber's main view screen. Ambassador Morris, Council members, she said, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. We've detected critical instability in Proxima Centauri. We're mobilizing the stellar restoration vessel Phoenix as we speak. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of alien voices. The Council chair's energy form pulsed rapidly, a clear sign of agitation. Dr. Jenkins, you do not have authorization to proceed with this operation. The chair boomed. And with all due respect, Jenkins countered, we don't have time for a debate. The potential chain reaction could destabilize multiple star systems, including Sol. We must act now. Bobby seized the moment. Esteemed Council, I propose we allow this mission to proceed under close observation. If successful, it will demonstrate the viability and necessity of our star rejuvenation project. As arguments flew back and forth, the view screen split to show the massive form of the SRV Phoenix, launching from Earth's orbital shipyard. Its sleek silver hull gleamed in the sunlight, antimatter generators humming with hardly restrained power. On the Phoenix's bridge, Captain John Harrison strapped into the command chair. All systems operational, reported his second-in-command, Commander Sarah Chen, course laid in for Proxima Centauri. Engage, Harrison ordered, his voice calm despite the weight of their mission. The Phoenix's engines flared to life, propelling the ship away from Earth at incredible speed. As they cleared the solar system, Harrison addressed his crew. I won't sugarcoat this. We're attempting something never before done under extreme time pressure, but each of you is here because you're the best at what you do. Together, we're going to save a star and maybe a whole lot more. Back in the council chamber, Bobby watched the Phoenix's progress on a holographic display. He turned to the assembled aliens, noting the mix of awe and apprehension on their faces. Members of the council, I invite you to observe this mission in real time. Transparency is key to building trust. The Arcturian representative, Zor-El, rose from his seat. The Arcturian Confederation supports this endeavor, he announced, his melodious voice echoing through the chamber. Centuries ago, our own civilization faced a similar crisis. We lacked the technology to prevent it, and the loss was catastrophic. We cannot stand by and watch history repeat itself. As the Phoenix journeyed towards Proxima Centauri, it encountered an unexpected obstacle, a dense field of asteroids, debris from a recent collision. Captain Harrison's hands flew over the controls, deftly guiding the massive ship through the treacherous maze of spinning rocks. Proximity alert, Chen called out. Asteroid on collision course, starboard side? Harrison banked the ship hard, narrowly avoiding the massive chunk of space rock. The Phoenix shuddered as smaller debris peppered its hull. Damage report, Harrison demanded. Chief Engineer Mike Donovan's voice crackled over the comm. We've got a problem, Captain. One of the antimatter containment units took a hit. It's stable for now, but we need to repair it before we reach Proxima Centauri. Harrison grimaced. How long? It'll require a spacewalk, 2 hours minimum. You got one. Suit up, Chief. As Donovan prepared for the perilous repair job, the ship's long-range sensors picked up an anomaly. Captain, the science officer reported, I'm detecting signs of an advanced outpost on one of Proxima Centauri's planets. Harrison frowned. Alien life? It appears so, sir, and given the star's instability, they may be unaware of their impending doom. This new information complicated matters significantly. Harrison opened a channel to Earth. Dr. Jenkins, we've got a situation. As Jenkins absorbed the news, she realized the ethical implications were enormous. We need more information, she decided. Captain, deploy a reconnaissance drone. We need to know what we're dealing with. While the Phoenix's crew worked feverishly to gather intelligence and repair their ship, events continued to unfold in the council chamber. The Zeta Reticulan delegation, still deeply skeptical of human intentions, huddled in intense discussion. Ambassador Zal of Zeta Reticuli approached the central podium. In the interest of galactic security, he hissed, we have dispatched a stealth observation vessel to monitor the humans' activities. Bobby felt a flare of indignation but kept his composure. We have nothing to hide, Ambassador. Your ship is welcome to observe, but I warn you, any interference with our mission will be considered an act of aggression. As tension simmered in the council chamber, the Phoenix finally approached the Proxima Centauri system. The star's violent instability was immediately apparent. Massive solar flares lashed out into space, while colossal eruptions of plasma burst from its swollen surface. My God! Harrison breathed, watching the chaos unfold on the main view screen. How long do we have? At the current rate of deterioration, the science officer replied, less than 6 hours before total collapse. Harrison set his jaw. Then let's get to work. Prepare for antimatter injection sequence, and keep an eye out for that Zeta Reticulans ship. I don't want any surprises. As the Phoenix maneuvered into position, its shields straining against the onslaught of solar radiation, the fate of not just one star system, but potentially many others, hung in the balance. The next few hours would determine whether humanity's ambitious star rejuvenation project would be hailed as a triumph of science and cooperation, or condemned as a catastrophic example of cosmic hubris. The Phoenix approached Proxima Centauri, the dying star's violent instability immediately apparent. Massive solar flares lashed out into space, while colossal eruptions of plasma burst from its swollen surface. Captain John Harrison's eyes widened as he took in the chaos unfolding on the main view screen. How long do we have? He asked, his voice tight with tension. The science officer, Lieutenant Amelia Zhao, consulted her instruments. At the current rate of deterioration, less than 6 hours before total collapse, sir. Harrison set his jaw. Then let's get to work. Prepare for antimatter injection sequence, and keep an eye out for that Zeta Reticulans ship. I don't want any surprises. As the Phoenix maneuvered into position, its shields strained against the onslaught of solar radiation. The ship shuddered, metal groaning under the immense stress. Captain! Chief Engineer Mike Donovan's voice crackled over the comm. The shields are taking a beating. I'm rerouting power from non-essential systems, but I don't know how long we can hold out against this level of radiation. Harrison gripped the arms of his chair. Do what you can, Chief. We need those shields. Suddenly, Lieutenant Zhao's console lit up. Sir, the reconnaissance drone is returning. You're going to want to see this. The view screen shifted to show the data streaming in from the drone. Images of Proxima Centauri b filled the screen, revealing a world unlike any they had encountered before. The planet's surface pulsed with bioluminescent patterns, intricate designs shifting and flowing across continents. My God, Harrison breathed. What are we looking at? Zhao's fingers flew over her console. It appears to be a previously unknown species, sir. The entire planet is teeming with life that depends on Proxima Centauri's specific radiation output. I'm dubbing them the Luminians. The implications hit Harrison like a physical blow. They weren't just trying to save a star anymore. They were responsible for preserving an entire alien civilization. Back on Earth, Dr. Emily Jenkins and her team worked feverishly, analyzing the data from the Phoenix. This changes everything, she muttered, her brow furrowed in concentration. We can't just stabilize the star. We need to maintain its current radiation output to preserve the Luminians' environment. Her colleague, Dr. Rajesh Patel, looked up from his workstation. I think I have something. What if we modify the antimatter injection process? We could stabilize the core first, then fine-tune the outer layers to match the star's current output. Jenkins' eyes lit up. Rajesh, that's brilliant. Get me a secure line to the Phoenix. We need to update Captain Harrison immediately. In the Galactic Council chambers, Ambassador Bobby Morris received the news about the Luminians. His heart raced as he realized the potential impact of this discovery. He stepped up to the podium, his voice steady despite his inner turmoil. Esteemed members of the Council, he began, we have just received crucial information from Proxima Centauri. The star system is home to a previously unknown sentient species, the Luminians. Their entire civilization depends on Proxima Centauri's unique radiation. By saving this star, we now have the opportunity to preserve not one, but two civilizations. The chamber erupted in a flurry of exclamations and hurried discussions. Zor-El, the Arcturian representative, rose to his feet. Honored colleagues, I propose we form a joint mission between humans and other council races to oversee and assist in the Proxima Centauri operation. This is too momentous an occasion for humanity to bear alone. As debates swirled through the council chambers, the situation at Proxima Centauri grew increasingly dire. The Phoenix shuddered as another massive solar flare struck its shields. Shields down to 62%. Commander Sarah Chen called out from her station. Captain Harrison opened a channel to engineering. Donovan, we need more power to the shields. I'm giving it all she's got, Captain. Donovan shouted over the sound of sparking circuits. Any more and we risk overloading the entire system. Harrison gritted his teeth. Understood, do what you can. Suddenly, a new alert blared through the bridge. Chen's eyes widened as she read the sensor data. Captain, the Zeta Reticulan ship is decloaking. They're moving to intercept us. Harrison's mind raced. They were out of time. Helm, move us into position for antimatter injection. Chen, divert all available power to our defenses. We can't let the Zeta Reticulans interfere. As the Phoenix maneuvered closer to the dying star, the ship's communication system crackled to life. A melodious, otherworldly voice filled the bridge. Unknown vessel, this is Lux Vestra, elder of the Luminian people. We have detected your presence and the impending stellar catastrophe. Please, we implore you, help us save our world. Harrison exchanged a stunned look with his crew before responding. Lux Vestra, this is Captain John Harrison of the Earthship Phoenix. We're here to stabilize your star and save your civilization. Stand by for further instructions. As the Phoenix prepared for the critical antimatter injection, a massive solar flare erupted from Proxima Centauri. The ship rocked violently, consoles exploding in showers of sparks. Damage report, Harrison shouted over the chaos. Donovan's voice came through, filled with urgency. Captain, the primary antimatter containment unit is damaged. We need to repair it before we can proceed with the injection. Harrison's mind raced. They were out of time, but proceeding with a damaged containment unit could be catastrophic. He made a split-second decision. Donovan, how long to repair? At least an hour, maybe 2. Harrison shook his head. We don't have that kind of time. Prep the backup antimatter reserves. We're going in. The Phoenix inched closer to Proxima Centauri's roiling surface, its hull creaking under the immense gravitational forces. On the bridge, Harrison could feel the tension radiating from his crew. All stations, report readiness for antimatter injection, he ordered, his voice calm despite the dire circumstances. As each station reported in, Harrison opened a channel to Earth. Dr. Jenkins, we're in position. Beginning injection process now. On Earth, in the Galactic Council chambers, and on the distant world of the Luminians, all eyes turned toward Proxima Centauri. The fate of 2 civilizations and humanity's standing in the galactic community hung in the balance as Captain Harrison gave the final command. Initiate antimatter injection sequence now. Initiate antimatter injection sequence now, Captain Harrison commanded, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. The Phoenix shuddered as the antimatter stream began to flow into Proxima Centauri's volatile core. On the bridge, displays flickered with real-time data, tracking the delicate operation with exacting precision. Injection process stable. Lieutenant Zhao reported, her eyes darting between multiple screens, core temperature beginning to normalize. A series of violent tremors suddenly rocked the ship. Alarms blared as a massive solar flare erupted from the star's surface, bathing the Phoenix in deadly radiation. Evasive maneuvers, Harrison barked. Maintain antimatter stream at all costs. The helmsman's hands flew over the controls, guiding the massive vessel through the treacherous stellar environment. Metal groaned as the ship's structure strained against the immense gravitational forces. In engineering, Chief Mike Donovan monitored the antimatter flow with unwavering focus. Sweat beaded on his brow as he made minute adjustments, ensuring a steady stream despite the ship's erratic movements. Donovan to bridge, he called out over the comm. We're redlining the injection systems. Any more stress, and we risk a containment breach. Before Harrison could respond, a priority message from Earth cut through the chaos. Dr. Emily Jenkins's face appeared on the main view screen, her expression a mix of concern and drive. Captain, we're seeing anomalies in the core's response, she reported. I'm transmitting a modified algorithm for the injection process. You need to implement it immediately. Harrison nodded grimly. Understood, Doctor. Zhao, integrate the new parameters into the injection sequence. As the science officer worked to update the system, a new threat emerged. Commander Chen's console lit up with urgent warnings. "Captain, the Zeta Reticulan ship is launching energy pulses at us," she shouted. "They're trying to disrupt the injection." Harrison's mind raced, weighing their options in a split second. Deploy countermeasures. Chen, take a team and man the defensive systems. Keep those Zeta Reticulans off our backs. As Chen and a group of officers rushed to their stations, Harrison opened a ship-wide channel. "All hands, brace for impact. We're going to feel this one." The Phoenix rocked as the first volley of energy pulses struck its shields. Sparks erupted from overloaded consoles, and crew members struggled to maintain their footing. Despite the onslaught, the antimatter injection continued. Slowly but surely, sensors began to detect changes in Proxima Centauri's core. The violent flares that had threatened to tear the star apart started to subside, its outer layers gradually stabilizing. "Sir," Zhao called out, a note of cautious optimism in her voice, "the star's core temperature is dropping. Fusion reactions are becoming more stable." A cheer went up from the bridge crew, but Harrison remained focused. "Stay sharp, people. We're not out of this yet." His words proved prescient as a series of alarms blared from the engineering station. Donovan's voice crackled over the comm, tight with urgency. "Captain, we've lost a primary power coupling in the engine room. We're losing containment stability." Harrison's fists tight. "Can you repair it?" "Yes, but I'll have to go in there myself. The radiation levels are off the charts." "Do it," Harrison ordered, knowing he was potentially sending his chief engineer to his death. "We've come too far to fail now." As Donovan and his team donned protective suits and entered the hazardous environment of the engine room, Dr. Jenkins's voice came through once more. "Captain, we've run the latest numbers. The star's core is approaching a tipping point. A few more minutes of injection could ensure long-term stability, but it might tear my ship apart," Harrison finished, understanding the implicit warning. He looked around the bridge, at the faces of his crew, exhausted, scared, but unwavering in their dedication. He thought of the Luminians on the planet below, their entire civilization hanging in the balance. And he thought of Earth and what this mission meant for humanity's place in the galaxy. "Prep for emergency evacuation of all non-essential personnel," he ordered. "Divert all power to the injection systems and shields. We're seeing this through to the end." As crew members rushed to comply, Harrison opened a channel to the engine room. "Donovan, how are those repairs coming?" "Almost there, Captain," came the strained reply. "But this coupling isn't going to hold for long." "It doesn't need to hold forever," Harrison said. "Just long enough." The final stage of the injection began, and the Phoenix was engulfed in a maelstrom of stellar energy. Systems failed across all decks as the ship was pushed beyond its design limits. In the engine room, Donovan worked feverishly, manually adjusting the antimatter flow as the automated systems faltered. On the bridge, Harrison watched as the ship's structural integrity dropped to critical levels. Warning klaxons blared, nearly drowned out by the sound of straining metal. Just when it seemed the Phoenix couldn't take any more, Zhao's console lit up with new data. "Captain, the star's core, it's stabilizing." Harrison leaned forward, hardly daring to believe it. "Confirm that, Lieutenant." "Confirmed, sir," Zhao replied, her voice filled with awe. "Proxima Centauri's core has reached equilibrium. The flares are subsiding. We did it." As the realization sunk in, Harrison allowed himself a moment of relief before snapping back into action. "All stop on the antimatter injection. Helm, get us clear of the star's corona. Damage report, all stations." As the battered Phoenix limped away from the rejuvenated star, Harrison looked out at the viewport. Proxima Centauri shone with a steady, life-giving light, a far cry from the volatile inferno they had encountered mere hours ago. "Sir," Chen called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the planet's surface." Harrison nodded, straightening his uniform. "Put it through." The melodious voice of Lux Vestra filled the bridge once more. "Captain Harrison, words cannot express our gratitude. You have saved not just our star, but our entire civilization. We stand ready to greet you and your crew as heroes." As Harrison prepared to respond, he knew that this was just the beginning. The successful mission had opened up a new chapter in human history, one filled with possibilities, challenges, and the promise of a new era of interstellar cooperation. But for now, as he looked at his exhausted but triumphant crew, he allowed himself to savor this moment of hard-won victory. Victory. "Well done, everyone," he said, his voice filled with pride. "Let's get our ship back in order." As the Phoenix maintained orbit around the newly stabilized Proxima Centauri, the crew threw themselves into emergency repairs. The ship's hull bore the scars of their harrowing ordeal, with scorch marks and stress fractures visible across its surface. In engineering, Chief Donovan supervised the repair efforts, his face still pale from radiation exposure. "Reroute power to the aft shields," he called out to his team. "We need to protect our propulsion systems while we work on the primary hull breaches." On the bridge, Captain Harrison coordinated with Earth and the Galactic Council. The view screen flickered to life, revealing the face of Ambassador Bobby Morris. "Captain, outstanding work," Morris said, his usual stern expression softened by a hint of a smile. "The Council is buzzing with news of your success. We're pushing for full membership status as we speak." Harrison nodded. "Thank you, Ambassador. We'll need all the support we can get. We're about to make first contact with the Luminians." As if on cue, Lieutenant Zhao's console lit up. "Captain, I'm detecting an incoming vessel. It's unlike anything I've ever seen." The view screen shifted to show a sleek, bioluminescent ship approaching the Phoenix. Its hull pulsed with soft, ethereal light that seemed to ripple like water. "Fascinating," Harrison murmured. He straightened his uniform and turned to his crew. "This is it, people. Humanity's first official contact with an alien civilization. Let's make it count." The Luminian vessel docked with practiced grace, and soon after, the Phoenix's sensors detected 3 life forms making their way through the airlock. Harrison made his way to the specially prepared reception chamber, flanked by Commander Chen and Lieutenant Zhao. As the inner doors slid open, Harrison found himself face to face with the Luminians. Lux Vestra, their leader, stood at the forefront. She was tall and lithe, her skin emitting a soft, pulsating glow that shifted through various hues. Behind her stood 2 male advisors, their bioluminescence more subdued but no less mesmerizing. "Captain Harrison," Lux Vestra said, her voice as melodious in person as it had been over the comm. "It is an honor to meet you and your crew in the flesh." Harrison stepped forward, extending his hand in the human gesture of greeting. "The honor is ours, Lux Vestra. Welcome aboard the Phoenix." As Lux Vestra grasped his hand, Harrison felt a gentle warmth spread through his palm. The Luminian leader's eyes widened slightly, and he realized she was likely experiencing the same sensation. "Your ship," one of the male advisors said, his gaze sweeping the room. "It's remarkable. We've never encountered a civilization that harnesses energy quite like this." "Nor have we encountered beings who can harness stellar energy directly," Harrison replied, gesturing for the Luminians to take seats around a circular table. "We have much to learn from each other." As they settled into their chairs, Lux Vestra began to explain the intricacies of Luminian society. "Our bioluminescent biology has shaped every aspect of our civilization," she said. "We draw energy directly from our star, storing it within our bodies. This ability has led us to develop technologies that work in harmony with stellar forces, rather than trying to contain or control them." Harrison leaned forward, fascinated. "That's incredible. Our own star rejuvenation technology is still in its infancy. Perhaps there's a way we could—" His words were cut short by a priority alert from the bridge. "Captain," Chen's voice came through his comm badge, "we're detecting multiple ships entering the system." Harrison excused himself and moved to a nearby console. The screen displayed a fleet of vessels approaching Proxima Centauri. Their designs varied, but all clearly more advanced than the Phoenix. "It's a Galactic Council task force," Chen reported. "Led by the Arcturians, they're hailing us." "Put them through," Harrison ordered, turning back to the Luminians. "My apologies, but it seems we have more guests arriving." The view screen flickered to life, revealing the face of an Arcturian. His skin was a pale blue, with intricate patterns swirling across his forehead and cheeks. "Captain Harrison," the Arcturian said, his voice deep and resonant. "I am Zor-El, representative of the Galactic Council. We've come to study the star rejuvenation process and to formally welcome the Luminians to the galactic community." As Harrison prepared to respond, another alert blared through the ship. Chen's voice came through again, this time with an edge of urgency. "Captain, the Zeta Reticulan ship has reappeared. They're attempting to flee the system." Zor-El's expression hardened. "Captain Harrison, we request your assistance in apprehending that vessel. Their interference in a sanctioned galactic operation cannot go unchallenged." Harrison felt the weight of the moment pressing down on him. The Phoenix was still undergoing repairs, and pursuing the Zeta Reticulans could jeopardize both the ship's safety and the delicate diplomatic situation with the Luminians. Yet, refusing to help could damage Earth's standing with the Galactic Council. He turned to Lux Vestra, who nodded in understanding. "Go, Captain," she said. "We will continue our discussions when you return." With a grateful nod, Harrison strode out of the chamber and onto the bridge. "Status report," he barked as he took his seat. "The Zeta Reticulan ship is at the edge of the system," Zhao reported. "They'll reach jump distance in approximately 10 minutes. Harrison's mind raced, considering their options. "Helm, plot an intercept course. Zhao, work with engineering to give us every ounce of power we can spare for engines and shields." As the crew sprang into action, Harrison opened a channel to the Arcturian ship. "Zor-El, we're moving to intercept, but be advised, our ship has sustained damage. We'll need support if this turns into a firefight." "Understood, Captain," Zor-El replied. "We'll coordinate our efforts with your vessel." The Phoenix surged forward, pushing its strain systems to the limit. On the display, the retreating form of the Zeta Reticulan ship grew larger. Suddenly, Zhao called out, "Captain, I'm detecting unusual energy readings from a nearby star system." Harrison's brow furrowed. "Can you be more specific, Lieutenant?" "It appears to be experiencing accelerated decay," Zhao reported, her fingers flying over her console. "If these readings are correct, it could threaten any planets or civilizations in its vicinity." The bridge fell silent as the implication sank in. Harrison gripped the arms of his chair, acutely aware that his next decision could shape the course of human history. "Sir," Chen said softly, "what are your orders?" Harrison took a deep breath, his mind whirling with the possibilities and consequences of each potential course of action. The fate of the fleeing Zeta Reticulans, the trust of the Galactic Council, the safety of the Luminians, and now the potential destruction of an entire star system, all hung in the balance, waiting for his command. Decision. He took a deep breath and addressed his crew. "We have multiple priorities to juggle, and we need to handle them all effectively," Harrison said, his voice firm and resolute. "Commander Jenkins, I want you to continue discussions with Lux Vestra and her advisors. Focus on potential technological exchanges and cultural understanding. This alliance is crucial for us." Sarah Jenkins nodded, her expression serious. "Understood, Captain. I'll make sure we capitalize on this opportunity." Harrison turned to his communications officer. "Lieutenant Chen, hail the Arcturian ship. Invite Zor-El and a small delegation aboard for a briefing on our star rejuvenation process." As Chen carried out his orders, Harrison addressed Zhao. "Lieutenant, compile all our sensor data and tactical analysis on the Zeta Reticulan ship. We'll provide this information to the Council Task Force to assist in their pursuit." "Aye, Captain," Zhao replied, her fingers already flying over her console. The bridge buzzed with activity as the crew carried out their tasks. Harrison felt a surge of pride in his team's efficiency and adaptability. Moments later, the doors to the bridge slid open, revealing Zor-El and two other Arcturians. Their blue skin seemed to shimmer under the bridge lights, the intricate patterns on their faces shifting subtly as they moved. "Welcome aboard the Phoenix, Zor-El," Harrison said, extending his hand in greeting. Zor-El clasped Harrison's hand, his grip firm but not aggressive. Thank you, Captain. We're eager to learn about your remarkable achievement. As Harrison led the Arcturian delegation to the conference room, Lieutenant Jake Martinez's voice came over the comm. Captain, I've completed my analysis of the nearby star system. The data confirms rapid stellar decay. If left unchecked, it could lead to a supernova within weeks. Harrison exchanged a glance with Zor-El, whose expression had grown grave. Lieutenant Martinez, join us in the conference room. Bring all your data. In the conference room, Martinez presented his findings. The holographic display showed a star in the throes of decay, its core pulsing erratically. The decay rate is unprecedented, Martinez explained. It's as if something is actively destabilizing the star's core. Zor-El leaned forward, his eyes fixed on the display. This is indeed troubling. Such rapid decay could have catastrophic consequences for any nearby systems. Harrison saw an opportunity. Zor-El, I propose a joint mission to investigate and potentially stabilize this star. It would be an excellent chance for our teams to work together and possibly save countless lives. Zor-El considered for a moment, then nodded. An intriguing proposal, Captain. I agree. I'll assign the Star Weaver under Captain Thalia Zahn to accompany you on this mission. As they hashed out the details of the joint operation, Chief Engineer Mike Donovan's voice came over the comm. Captain, you might want to come down to engineering. We've made some interesting discoveries while working on repairs. Harrison excused himself and made his way to engineering. He found Donovan standing next to a pulsating piece of equipment that seemed to merge Luminian bioenergy technology with the Phoenix's systems. Chief, what am I looking at? Harrison asked, his eyes wide with fascination. Donovan grinned, his face streaked with grease and sweat. This, Captain, is the future of our power systems. We've incorporated some Luminian tech into our repairs. It's not only speeding up the process, but enhancing our overall capabilities. Harrison studied the hybrid system, watching as energy flowed through it in mesmerizing patterns. Impressive work, Chief. How soon can we be ready for our next mission? At this rate, we'll be shipshape in less than 24 hours, Donovan replied confidently. As Harrison made his way back to the bridge, he received an urgent message from Lieutenant Zhao. Captain, long-range scans of the decaying star system have detected signs of a pre-spaceflight civilization on one of the planets. Harrison's steps faltered for a moment as the implications sank in. The stakes had just risen exponentially. He quickened his pace, his mind already formulating plans. Back on the bridge, Harrison called for a joint meeting with Zor-El, Captain Zahn of the Star Weaver, and Lux Vestra. As the leaders gathered, the tension in the air was palpable. We've discovered a pre-spaceflight civilization in the system with the decaying star, Harrison announced without preamble. This changes everything. We're no longer just dealing with an astronomical anomaly. We're facing a potential extinction-level event for an entire species. Lux Vestra's bioluminescence pulsed with concern. This is indeed grave news. What course of action do you propose, Captain? Harrison laid out his plan. We'll send a covert observation probe to gather more information about the planet's inhabitants. Meanwhile, we'll proceed with our mission to stabilize the star. We must act quickly but cautiously. We can't risk violating non-interference protocols. Captain Zahn, a statuesque Arcturian with sharp features, spoke up. The Star Weaver stands ready to assist. Our engineers are already working on modifications to support the star rejuvenation process. As the meeting concluded, Harrison received a priority communication from Earth. Dr. Emily Jenkins appeared on the screen, her expression a mix of excitement and concern. Captain, we've developed a new method for star rejuvenation, she said, her words tumbling out rapidly. It involves a series of controlled antimatter injections. It's more aggressive than our previous technique, but it might be our only option given the advanced decay of this star. Harrison nodded, absorbing the information. Understood, Doctor. Send us all the data. We'll need to adapt quickly. As the preparations for the mission intensified, Harrison could feel the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. The fate of an entire civilization hung in the balance, not to mention Earth's standing in the galactic community. He addressed his crew one final time before their departure. What we're about to attempt goes beyond anything we've done before. The risks are greater, the stakes higher. But remember why we're out here: to explore, to learn, and to help where we can. Let's show the galaxy what humanity is capable of. The Phoenix, newly repaired and enhanced, moved into formation with the Star Weaver and the Luminian Observer ship. As they prepared to jump to the unstable star system, Harrison couldn't help but feel a mix of anticipation and trepidation. As they entered subspace, unusual disturbances buffeted the ships. Lieutenant Martinez's voice cut through the noise on the bridge. "Captain, these subspace anomalies, they seem to be linked to the star's decay. It's as if the instability is rippling through space-time itself." Before Harrison could respond, another communication came through, this time from Ambassador Bobby Morris on Earth. His usually composed face was etched with worry. "Captain Harrison, the Galactic Council has called for an emergency session," Morris reported. "They're discussing the implications of human stellar engineering. The outcome of this mission could determine Earth's future in the galactic community." Harrison absorbed this news, feeling the weight of responsibility grow even heavier. As the fleet approached the unstable star system, he steeled himself for the challenges ahead. The fate of an unknown civilization, the future of Earth's role in the galaxy, and the lives of his crew all rested on the success of this mission. As they dropped out of subspace, the violent flickering of the dying star filled the view screen. Harrison leaned forward in his chair, his voice steady as he gave the order. "All stations, prepare for star rejuvenation procedures. Let's make history." History! The words had barely left Harrison's lips when the Phoenix shuddered violently, dropping out of subspace. The view screen filled with the turbulent image of a dying star, its surface roiling with massive flares and prominences. "All stations, report," Harrison barked, gripping his chair as the ship trembled. Lieutenant Zhao's fingers flew across her console. "Captain, I'm detecting extreme radiation levels and gravitational fluctuations. The star's core is highly unstable." "Full scan of the system now," Harrison ordered. "I want to know everything about that planet and its inhabitants." As the crew worked feverishly, the Star Weaver glided into view, taking up position alongside the Phoenix. The comm crackled to life, and Captain Thalia Zahn's face appeared on the screen. "Captain Harrison, our readings confirm yours," she said, her voice taut with concern. "This star is far more unstable than we anticipated." Harrison nodded grimly. "Agreed. We need to move quickly. Lieutenant Martinez, what can you tell me about the planet?" Martinez studied his readouts intently. "Sir, the civilization appears to be at a technological level similar to Earth's early 20th century. They have rudimentary radio technology and early aircraft, but no space program. Population estimates are in the billions." The implications hit Harrison like a physical blow. Billions of lives completely unaware of the cosmic catastrophe about to befall them. "Captain," Zhao interjected, her voice urgent. "The star's decay is accelerating. At this rate, it could go nova within days." Harrison's mind raced through their options. "We need to implement Dr. Jenkins's antimatter injection process immediately. It's our only chance to stabilize the core." He opened a channel to engineering. "Donovan, prepare for antimatter injection. We'll need every ounce of power you can give us." "Aye, Captain," Donovan replied. "But I must warn you, we're pushing the systems to their limits." Harrison turned back to the view screen. "Captain Zahn, we'll need to position our ships on opposite sides of the star for maximum effect. Are you ready?" Zahn nodded, her expression resolute. "The Star Weaver stands ready, Captain Harrison." As the two ships maneuvered into position, a massive solar flare erupted from the star's surface, bathing both vessels in intense radiation. "Shields holding at 80%, Zhao reported, her voice strained. Suddenly an alarm blared on the Star Weaver's bridge. Captain Zahn's face paled. "Our primary antimatter containment unit has been damaged. We can't proceed with the injection." Harrison's mind raced through the implications. Without both ships, the chances of success dropped dramatically. He made a split-second decision. "Star Weaver, prepare to receive antimatter transfer. We'll split our reserves." Zahn's eyes widened. "Captain, that's incredibly risky. The transfer alone could..." We don't have a choice. Harrison cut her off. Donovan, begin transfer procedures. The two ships edged closer, their shields barely keeping the star's fury at bay. Harrison watched as a shimmering stream of antimatter flowed between the vessels, his heart pounding with each second. Transfer complete, Donovan reported. But Captain, we're now operating on a knife's edge. One wrong move and we could lose containment. Harrison nodded grimly. Understood. All hands prepare for antimatter injection sequence. The Phoenix and Starweaver took their positions, their hulls glowing red from the intense heat. As they began the injection process, the star's reaction was immediate and violent. Gravitational shear increasing, Zhao shouted over the groaning of the ship's structure, hull integrity at 65% and falling. Harrison gripped his chair, feeling the Phoenix shudder around him. Divert all non-essential power to structural integrity. Donovan, how are we holding up? The Luminian tech is helping, but we're pushing way past redline, Captain. Donovan's voice was strained. I don't know how long we can keep this up. On the monitor, Harrison watched as the Starweaver struggled against the star's savage forces. Captain Zahn's face appeared, her features tight with tension. Harrison, we can't maintain position. We're pulling back to a safer distance. Harrison nodded, understanding the impossible choice she faced. Acknowledged, Starweaver. We'll push on from here. As the Arcturian ship retreated, the Phoenix plunged deeper into the star's roiling atmosphere. Warning klaxons blared across every deck as systems failed one by one. Captain, Martinez called out, the observation probe is detecting massive geological instability on the planet. Earthquakes, storms, it's chaos down there. Harrison's teeth clenched. They were running out of time. Sir, Chen's voice cut through the cacophony. We've lost long-range communications. We can't contact Earth or the Council. The realization hit Harrison hard. They were truly on their own now, with the fate of billions and possibly humanity's future in the galactic community hanging in the balance. Suddenly, Donovan's voice crackled over the comm. Captain, I have an idea. It's crazy, but it might be our only shot. I'm all ears, Chief, Harrison replied, desperation edging into his voice. We can use the Luminian bioenergy tech to create a temporary field around the ship. It might give us the edge we need to complete the injection. Harrison didn't hesitate. Do it. As Donovan and his team worked feverishly to implement the untested modification, the ship's sensors detected a massive stellar flare building up. All hands brace for impact, Harrison shouted. The flare struck the Phoenix with the force of 1,000 suns. For a moment, Harrison thought it was over. But then, miraculously, the ship held. Luminian field is holding, Donovan reported, his voice filled with disbelief. But we're barely hanging on, Captain. Harrison made his decision. Divert all remaining power to the injection systems and the bioenergy field. We finish this now. The Phoenix surged forward, plunging deeper into the star than any ship had ever gone before. The hull glowed white-hot, systems failing left and right as they pushed beyond every conceivable limit. Initiating final antimatter injection sequence, Zhao announced, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. Harrison watched the readouts, his heart pounding. The star's core fluctuated wildly, teetering on the brink of collapse. Then, slowly, agonizingly, it began to stabilize. A cheer went up on the bridge, but Harrison's relief was short-lived. As the star stabilized, they found themselves trapped in its turbulent atmosphere, their power reserves critically low. Engines are offline, Martinez reported, his voice grim. We can't break free. Harrison looked around at his crew, their faces a mix of fear and persistence. The Starweaver was too damaged to attempt a rescue. They had saved the star, the planet, and billions of lives, but at what cost? As alarms blared and systems failed around him, Captain John Harrison faced the most difficult decision of his career. The fate of his crew, an entire civilization, and humanity's standing in the galaxy now rested on what he did next. Harrison's mind raced. They were trapped in the star's turbulent atmosphere, power reserves critically low. The ship groaned around them, systems failing one by one. But as he looked at his crew's determined faces, an idea crystallized. "Donovan," he called out, his voice cutting through the cacophony of alarms. "Can we channel our remaining antimatter into the Luminian bioenergy field?" There was a moment of stunned silence on the bridge before Donovan's voice crackled over the comm. "It's possible, Captain, but highly unstable. The energy release could tear us apart." "Or it could be our ticket out of here," Harrison countered. "Make it happen." As Donovan and his team worked feverishly to implement the desperate plan, Harrison turned to his bridge crew. "All hands, brace for extreme acceleration. This is going to be one hell of a ride." The ship shuddered violently as the antimatter was redirected. The bioenergy field flared to life, enveloping the Phoenix in a shimmering cocoon of light. "Field stability at 63% and holding," Zhao reported, her fingers flying over her console. "Antimatter injection in 3, 2, 1. The universe seemed to hold its breath for a split second. Then with a blinding flash, the Phoenix lurched forward. The force of acceleration slammed Harrison back into his chair, his vision narrowing to a pinpoint. Alarms blared as the ship tore through the star's atmosphere. Hull temperature readings soared off the charts, systems overloaded, and bulkheads groaned under the immense stress. "Breach in engineering," Martinez shouted over the din. "Automate sealing systems engaged?" For what felt like an eternity, the Phoenix rode the wave of energy, balanced on a knife's edge between salvation and destruction. Then, with a final surge, they burst free of the star's grasp. As the blinding light faded from the view screen, Harrison blinked, his eyes adjusting to the star-studded blackness of open space. A ragged cheer went up from the crew, but it was short-lived. "Captain," Zhao's voice was grim. "Propulsion systems are offline, we're adrift." Harrison nodded, surveying the damage reports flooding his console. "Life support?" "Functioning but rapidly depleting," Chen replied. "We have maybe 48 hours at current consumption rates." As Harrison began to formulate their next move, a familiar voice crackled over the comm. "Phoenix, this is Starweaver. Do you copy?" "Starweaver, this is Phoenix," Harrison responded, relief evident in his voice. "Good to hear from you, Captain Zahn." "Likewise, Captain Harrison," Zahn replied. "We've been monitoring your situation. Prepare for rescue operation." The Starweaver, still bearing scars from its own close encounter with the star, maneuvered carefully towards the Phoenix. A shimmering tendril of energy extended from its hull, a makeshift tether combining Arcturian and human technology. "Ingenious," Donovan murmured, studying the readings. "They're using a modified tractor beam coupled with an energy transfer conduit." As the tether connected with the Phoenix, a surge of power coursed through the ship's systems. Emergency lights flickered back to life, and the constant blare of alarms finally ceased. "Starweaver has a lock on us," Martinez reported. "They're initiating tow procedures." Harrison allowed himself a moment of relief, but it was short-lived. Chen's voice cut through the relative calm. "Captain, long-range sensors are picking up multiple ships entering the system." "Identification?" Harrison asked, tension creeping back into his voice. Chen's eyes widened as he studied his console. "Sir, it's the Galactic Council Task Force, led by Zor-El himself." The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. The Council had arrived just in time to witness the aftermath of their unsanctioned mission. As the fleet of sleek, advanced ships surrounded the Phoenix and Starweaver, Harrison straightened in his chair. "Open a channel," he ordered. "Let's face the music." Before Chen could comply, a warm, resonant voice filled the bridge. "Captain John Harrison, this is Zor-El of the Galactic Council. We've been monitoring the situation. Your actions here today were extraordinary." Harrison blinked, caught off guard by the lack of reprimand in Zor-El's tone. "Thank you, Counselor. We did what we believed was necessary." "Indeed," Zor-El replied, "and in doing so, you may have changed the course of galactic history. Prepare to receive our rescue teams. We have much to discuss. As the Council ships moved into position, launching shuttles filled with emergency personnel and repair crews, Harrison turned to his battered but unbowed crew. Well done, all of you. Whatever comes next, remember this moment. Remember what we accomplished here today. The bridge erupted in a fresh round of cheers as the first rescue shuttles docked with the Phoenix. As Harrison watched Luminian engineers file onto his ship, their bioluminescent bodies casting a soft glow, he couldn't help but marvel at the strange turns his career had taken. A throat cleared beside him, and he turned to find Ambassador Bobby Morris standing there, a broad smile on his face. "Captain Harrison," Morris said, extending his hand, "I believe you've just written a new chapter in human history. The Council is convening an emergency session, and they've requested your presence." Harrison nodded, taking a deep breath. As he followed Morris towards the shuttle bay, he cast one last glance at the now stable star shining serenely on the monitor. Whatever the future held, he knew that humanity had just taken its first steps towards a new era of cosmic responsibility.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.